Hi everyone and welcome to Franka's Fab Family. I am Franka and I want to take some time to introduce you to our family. I've been thinking about some of the things that we can share with you and some of the tips and strategies that we can share with you. My purpose in life, to me, has always been to be a parent. I've always wanted to be a mom. As long as I can remember, that was one of my biggest dreams. And it might sound strange, and I've had plenty of successful careers. I've been a successful marketing and communications manager. I'm a successful chef. I teach English to Chinese students across the world. I have worked at the bank. I have had so many jobs. But of all of the jobs, I must say that the one job for me that means the most of all my jobs, and this job I don't even get paid for, is to be a mom. One of the things that I realized in our community is in the Black community, we don't speak about infertility. I did not know, or I don't recall hearing the word or understanding what infertility meant until I could not have children, or I was not getting children. I was married then 4 years. That was a very long time ago, and it wasn't happening. And I'm going to share a little story with you. I remember every month my period would come and I would cry. I would cry, and I would talk myself like, okay, next month. We became so strict that only relations on the ovulation days, and anyone who has had infertility issues know what I mean by that. It's like a 4 or 6 day window every month, which is your highest probability or your highest peak for you to be ovulating, and the environment is supposed to be right for you to have children. In any event, it wasn't happening, right? So one month, my period came. I remember I was working at the library at the time. I'm a librarian. I'm actually, I have a master's degree in library science. You'll learn more about the family as we go on. So please subscribe. We have a whole lot in store for you. So my menses came for the month, and I was devastated because I just honestly believe, it's been 4 years and by now I should have a child. It didn't happen. I made myself actually sick with sadness and misery at the job, and I had to go home. I literally could not contain myself. It was in the middle of the day and I had to go home. So I went home by myself, and I remember laying down, and I just remember crying and crying and crying and crying and asking life and asking the Lord, why are you not giving me a child? Like, I'm married, I'm a professional now. By then I had my first master's degree, and I'm healthy, and I'm still not having a child, and I'm crying. And then this scripture rose up inside of me, and it said, "Why art thou so downcast, O my soul? Put thy trust in God." And I remember thinking, okay, because I wasn't displaying faith. I wasn't displaying my belief of understanding and appreciating all that God had did for me up until that point, understanding all the miracles I had already lived through. So what was the block? So I said, okay. I was very much a list maker. I'm still am. I make a list of goals, and I'll make a list of all the things that I want to accomplish. So I even made a list of my children, the attributes that I wanted my children to have. I wrote down all the things that I wanted if I had a boy to have, and I wrote down all the things that I wanted a girl to have. And at that moment, after that scripture rose up inside of me, I stopped to think, wait a minute, am I the parent for the type of children I am asking for? And then it dawned on me that I might not be the mother for the children that I was asking heaven for, because a very long time ago I had become a big dreamer. So I wanted great kids. I wanted children that came out into the world already believing in God. I didn't want to have to convince an atheist that there is a Father in heaven. I didn't want to go through that. I also wanted healthy children. I wanted children to come understanding their, like health is important, education is important, loving themselves, being a good-hearted person, good souls, and all of these other attributes down to their physical disposition, I mean their skin, their hair, you name it, I wrote it down, right? So now I'm telling myself, or I'm having a conversation with myself, and I realize I might not be the woman for those type of children. Not that I didn't deserve those type of children, but I would not bring out the best in those type of children if I was the woman that I was back then. So I said, okay, Lord, I'm up for the challenge. And what I started to do, I got up, I remember washing my face, I went back to work, like, okay, we back at it, we're going back to the drawing board. And I made a list. But this time the list was all of my weaknesses. All the weaknesses I knew were part of my character. I started writing them down. Some of them were very easy to let go. Easy. You know, I was never really a big liar. I'm not till this day. I have to really like think about if I'm gonna tell not the full truth. I actually just try to stay quiet. But anything in my character, like if I was short-tempered, I can't really remember all of the things that I wrote down now, but I remember making a list. And for the next couple months, I started working on that list. I started working on it diligently. So fast forward a couple months, now I know I've changed. I know I'm a much better, stronger, wiser person. Everything is going well and still no children. So when you start to learn about infertility, you normally have what's called, I think it's HCG. That's where the doctors insert a device inside of you, and they put a dye in your uterus, up your cervix. So yes, these are things that we really go through as women to check our reproductive system. And the dye is supposed to fill the womb and spill over into the fallopian tube. So I go and I'm watching it because even medically speaking, I would pay attention to everything because I'm a learner. I want to learn. I want to get better as a person. So the dye went in and it filled up the ball of my uterus, but I saw no fallopian tubes. I am now 27 years old at the time, and I'm devastated. I'm not a radiologist. I'm not a doctor, but I know that when I'm looking at the screen, it doesn't seem right. So I asked the doctor, and she said, oh, you know, let's stay positive and let the radiologist read it, and then we'll discuss. So I'm not feeling good about it at all. So I leave, and I go back to work, and I go on the computer. Normal scan and an abnormal scan. And a normal scan, like I said earlier, the dye fills up in this like neon color, and it spills over. You see the fallopian tube, it will spill over onto the uterus, and you will see the whole reproductive part. That's not what I saw on my scan. My scan only showed that I had a uterus. Called the doctor. Her name was Dr. DeGal. Dr. DeGal, you must tell me, like, I'm serious, I need you to tell me, be honest with me and be upfront with me. And she said, you know, let's just wait for the scan, but I'm telling you, it doesn't look good. So I said, okay, I get off the phone and I start crying at the job again, and I'm crying. Now I have to get up and go to the bathroom, and I'm crying. And I am like, Lord, why would you do this? From as young as I can remember, I wanted to be a mom. But I wanted to be a mom because I wanted to be the adult in a child's life that I did not have. I wanted to be an example for children that I did not have. I wanted to protect children. I wanted to put them first. I wanted to give them all the stuff that I did not have. So I went to the bathroom, and again, this small voice says to me, isn't it better that, oh no, she told me, I asked her what was the next step. If the test comes back abnormal, what's the next step? So she said to me, I would have to travel to Puerto Rico and have what is called a laparoscopy, and that's where they go in through your belly button, they put a camera, and they check your uterus from the inside, not just from, in here, not from the vaginal way, but from inside to see the outside structure of the uterus. They'll be able to see if your fallopian tubes are missing, if they're infused. They'll be able to deal with all of that in a different way. So the procedure costs $4,000 to $6,000, and our insurance doesn't cover it. So then I go to the bathroom. I'm crying, going back. So let me bring you back up to speed. Still, a small voice says to me, isn't it better that you go and have a small procedure to fix the problem than to have had a child lie? And the name of my ex came up, and I was like, oh my God. Thank you for blind mercies. Thank you. You're right. And this gave me hope again. So this gave me hope again. I'm putting a positive spin on it. I'm putting a positive, outlook on it. I'm no longer devastated. I'm like, okay, I have a uterus. So even if I don't have any fallopian tubes, hopefully I have some ovaries that I could carry a child. We're going to work it out. We'll deal with that stage as it comes along, but whatever. So go to Puerto Rico, have a laparoscopy, and the doctor comes out and he goes, she had endometriosis. She's good as new. We were like, what? He said, yes. I had never heard of endometriosis at the time, right? You can look it up, Google it. So what he did, he cleaned the outside of my uterus, he cleaned the inside of my uterus, and he cleaned everywhere. So if you have very bad period pains, if you have heavy bleeding, you may want to get checked out, because endometriosis can really be a reason as to why you're not getting pregnant if you're trying to get pregnant, right? So go back home to the British Virgin Islands. I said, Lord, loan me your children, because I have watched parents do really bad by their children. Like do really, really bad. And in my heart, I wanted the children, but I have found that when you think you own the children, they belong to you, you screw them up. So I said, Lord, loan me your children. Everyone who is responsible and have integrity, if anyone ever loans them something, they will take care of that thing better than if it was their own. If you have a car, you'll take care of your car. But if you borrow your friend's car, if you're a person of integrity, you'll take better care of your friend's car, because you just want to give it back in good condition, right? And you want to keep your reputation of being a person of integrity and quality. So I said, Lord, loan me your children. Loan them to me. From the time they are born, I will let them know that they came through me, but they are not mine. I am their earthly guardian. I am their provider. I am their protector. I will do everything within my power to babysit your children for you. That's the last prayer that I remember. Fast forward now, at the end of the month, we traveled to another island, St. Thomas, and there was an older family member there. God rest his soul, he passed away now, and he looked at me and he said, Franka, why do you look like that? You look so different. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Now, in West Indian terms, we have a saying that old people can see, right? Thank God I kind of have some of that. I can see. Meaning you can see beyond the physical. You can see beyond what's like right in front of you. So in my heart, I was like, could I be pregnant? Is that what he's seeing? So we left the house. I rushed to the drugstore, and I remember being in this like shopping mall plaza thing. The bathroom was so filthy. I did not care. I went and got myself a pregnancy test, and I went into that bathroom and I said, Lord, please. And in less than 5 minutes, I had 2 lines. 2 lines. I mean, that was one of the happiest, but the beginning of the rest of my life that was going to change. So I'm gonna leave you guys here with that, and I want you to come back, because that's when I found out I was pregnant with Jordan. He's 18 now, so that was over nearly 19 years ago, and that's when I knew that being a mom or being a parent is not a job to take lightly. It's not a life choice and decision to make lightly, and it's definitely not a life road that you should fall on accidentally. Having children is such a critical and important role as a parent, as a citizen of the world, and I just don't think many people take that job seriously or seriously enough. So for the last 23 years of my life, I am 46 with 4 children, and one thing that I must say that I have mastered, and that is parenting. And as you continue to watch this show, I am going to show you tips and techniques and tell you stories that will blow your mind of when it comes to parenting. So if you have a child, tune in, subscribe. If you want children, tune in, subscribe. Even if you're one of those people that you just found a new boo and you're in love and you're thinking, I want to have a child, please tune in tomorrow, because I have some things that I need to share with everyone, especially those parents or those individuals that don't have children yet. Having children is not for the faint of heart. And I think one of the major dysfunction and fall that we are seeing in humanity right now is because children are not being raised. Children are not being prioritized in the home. And many adults are walking children themselves. They have not been raised. They have not chosen to learn certain skills that will put the next generation into a better place. And we are seeing so much violence. We are seeing so much like unreasonableness. The world right now is not even making much sense, really. And that's why I wanted to chime in. So much is happening with everyone taking time to learn how to improve, and I do believe that a global consciousness, a wave is taking place right now. But I really, really, really must stress that parenting is not for the faint of heart at all. And I want to tell you and share my story with you. So if you want to take on the real job of becoming a parent, at least let me give you some information so you could make an informed and a wise decision, because it's not for the faint of heart at all. And if you are struggling as a parent, I'm telling you, there are so many techniques and strategies that I will show you, things that I have mastered over the years because I put my children first. From the time in that bathroom when I realized that Jordan had already started to grow inside of me, my whole life changed. And if you are a parent and you have not changed as a person and as an individual since you had children, I feel sorry for the children. So, I am Franka Potter. Thank you for staying this long with me, and I hope to see you again tomorrow, and we're going to talk about parenting.